Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video, and today we return with round 21 of our F123 My Team Career Mode Season 4 here for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on yesterday's video from Mexico, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. But today, we could become Formula 1 World Champion. 3 races to go of this season, and we have a 52-point lead over Max Verstappen. All we have to do is leave Brazil with a bigger margin than we came into it with. Of course, you know, there's a lot of things that can go right, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Another sprint weekend, our final sprint weekend of the campaign before we head to Portimao and then to finish the season in Las Vegas. A lot of other battles, though, going on up and down the field there. Ferrari versus Mercedes, 4 points between them in the battle for P3. 2 points between Aston Martin and Alpine in the battle for 5th place as well in the Constructors' Championship. There is a lot to play for in these final few races of the campaign, but for me, it's pretty simple. We just want to beat Max Verstappen here, and you can tell how serious I am about it because I'm going to put fresh components in the back of the car. We mean business this weekend. Get yourself subscribed if you haven't already. This is hopefully about to get interesting. Well, the ball is very much in Max Verstappen's court as we head into the final 3 races of the campaign. And, well, so far, I think every season of the My Team Career Mode, he's been leading the World Championship at the halfway stage and has not gone on to win it, apart from Season 2 against George Russell. But that was in a Mercedes that, sensibly, I don't think ever should have been in the fight in the first place. But, yeah, of course, Mercedes able to wrap up the Constructors' Championship that season anyway, so Red Bull didn't get all of the prizes either. But yeah, what will the Dutchman be able to do this weekend? Only time will tell. But yeah, the pressure, I mean, I'd love to wrap it up here in Brazil. You know, so many icons have won world titles around this venue in years gone by. Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Kimi Raikkonen, obviously Sebastian Vettel as well, Jenson Button. You know, it's a pretty good list of people that have walked away champions here in Brazil. But of course, we've got sprint qualifying and a sprint race to navigate. First purple through the middle sector is exactly what we want to see there as a second up on Sir Lance Stroll. It's been a bit of a sloppy opening lap here in Q1. Of course, we're just looking to try and make sure that we're through safely and into Q2. It's a 7-7 there, puts us P7, but we are quicker than Max. Well, Verstappen decided to trade a bit of a hammer blow right at the end of Q1, just quietly posted a 1:06.9, so that's going to be more kind of time we're aiming for as qualifying goes on, but I know there is more and more time in the car. You know, we all know what the Dutchman's like. He's got to try and be fastest in every single session, and when it doesn't, it often unravels away from him. But yeah, much tidier run through the first couple of corners. Still not perfect. There's definitely a couple of more tenths in it, but yeah, we just need to... Whoa. Lock up there. Is that going to invalidate? No, it's not. Okay, so clearly the game didn't feel I gained an advantage. We'll keep pushing. Yeah, purple through the middle sector. We definitely seem to be very, very quick through there. 6 tenths up on Kevin Magnussen, who's done a 1:07.8. So this lap's going to be a lot more reassuring then. See what the time's going to be when we get up towards the line. It's going to be a 1:07.3. That puts us fastest provisionally. And again, that should be enough to see us through, therefore. Dragovic setting a 1:06.6 there, of course. Home Grand Prix for him for the first time. He's got competitive machinery here at Interlagos, so I'm sure he'd love to try and snooker away a victory, even if it was just to try and help me in the championship. I'd love to see Dragovic as well take a win. But yeah, this first lap needs to be a good one then. Need to keep it clean and tidy through the first couple of corners. Set a good benchmark that we can try and chase on our second run. Carry the extra set of tyres into Q3, which no one else, I don't think, can claim. Well, only half second up, and of course times are getting much faster by the AI there. Albon's done a 7-0. A little bit of a wobble out the final couple of corners. We're definitely going to lose some time relative to that delta, but what is the time going to be up towards the line? 6.9. Puts us half a tenth from Charles Leclerc, but it's only good enough for P3 after the first runs. Will anyone else be able to go back out there? And can we improve? We are 7 thousandths of a second away behind Felipe Drugovich as we round into our final run here of Q3. We need half a tenth if we want to get the better of Leclerc. The AI are all going out for a last-ditch run as well, so everyone Maybe just trying to save some tyres where I didn't notice. Longest run to the line. This is going to be an all-out lap. Final corner, 3/10 up. I don't think anyone else is improving at the moment. Charles Leclerc, it's a 106.7, but it's not going to matter. We are about to obliterate that as we head up towards the line. It's going to be a 106.5. Quickest time of anyone. We got the lap in right when we needed it.
Nice work. Come on, I'll see you back in the pits.
There's levels to this Formula 1 game, I can't lie. You know, you're going into this big title rival. You line up on pole. He qualifies 10th. Max Verstappen, I think maybe now just starting to accept that his championship hopes might be fading away right in front of him there. We are in prime position here for the Sao Paulo sprint race. Let's get into it.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Drugovich, Albon, Russell, De Vries, Tsunoda, Fittipaldi, Verstappen, Helga, Sainz, Ocon, Oscar Piastri, Magnussen, Liam Lawson, Teo Pourchaire, Doohan, Bottas, Stroll, Sargent and Zhou Guanyu. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Right, let's do this thing. Brazilian GP sprint race. We're going to go aggressive. We're going to do the soft compound tyres here. We're starting from the pole. I just want to try and hang on to it. We mean business today. We are not messing around. We want to leave Brazil as the Formula 1 World Champion. Verstappen has not given himself an ideal opportunity, but we know the Dutchman, when he's backed into a corner, will certainly fight like always. Let's do this thing though. Brazilian Grand Prix time here in Sao Paulo. 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. A lot of wheel spin there as we're accidentally going to come across Charles Leclerc. But it looks like he's gone nowhere off the line as we head down in towards turn 1. We're going to have a clean run actually as Drugovich trying to move his way up into P2 there. Pierre Gasly looks like he's just going to try and hang on in the Mercedes. Look at that, Felipe. Straight up the inside there through the first couple of corners. The home crowd spurred him on at the start of this sprint race there after a mega qualifying performance once again yesterday. Lining up 4th on the grid there. He is absolutely flying. He's straight up to P2 and now suddenly we've got a rear gunner at the start of the race there. Looks like Verstappen hasn't made any real progress forward off the start as well. But Charles Leclerc dropping down to at the very best 6th place early on here in Brazil. We often do see it with the AI. They can get some awful starts, more than pretty much any other track on the calendar, with maybe the exception of Mexico. Of course, we raced that yesterday, but yeah, Charles Leclerc having a nightmare to kickstart this evening's running action. And we're just trying to build up a bit of an advantage on this opening lap there already. The gap up to 3/4 of a second over Felipe Drugovich. We know the AI is going to be much, much quicker down this start-finish straight, so we need to try and get the DRS gap before the DRS is enabled. So 1:13.1, first lap there. That was with a standing start, remember. These cars, stupidly fast if we win the title, and if we do a career mode reset, I must admit, I am going to miss them just a little bit. I've got DRS enabled now as we start lap 3, and the gap already, 1.2 seconds over Felipe Drugovich. I did and ah about whether it was worth trying to give him the DRS, keep him in the range, but I think, to be honest, as much as I love my new teammate, we've kind of just got to do our own thing this afternoon. We need to win the title. Well, it really looks like Mercedes seem to be our big threat so far. Charles Leclerc trying to work his way back through the field. But yeah, Gasly and Russell, after obviously now both their drivers with a win this season, yeah, really now trying to lean on my teammate in front of them. See if they can force an error out of him. Of course, you know, we'd love for Drugovich to join us on the podium, especially tomorrow, if we can crown ourselves Constructors' Champions as well. But of course, that's also assuming that we get a podium in the race tomorrow. Remember, still waiting for a mechanical failure, and this is why I kind of don't really want to take any risks, because in my head, the more races we go without one this game, the more likely I am to get one, because I have no idea how I've gone this far without one up to this point. Hello? I appear to have lost... That was weird. Lost all my force feedback there for about a good 3 seconds. As you've probably seen by the huge weave suddenly, because of course there was no resistance against me. Please can we not have that again, Fanatec? That would be wonderful. I'll give myself a cheeky plug whilst we've got a 3.5 second lead. If you do want to use the same sim gear that I use, there's a link down in my description to the Fanatec website. If you buy anything through there, you also help support the channel. That's be greatly appreciated. Don't get that elsewhere, do you? A cheeky plug halfway through a race. And you can tell by my shocked reaction just how rare that is at the Fanatec. That's happened to me, I think, twice in this game. And I've done 4 full seasons of this and a lot more other random stuff. So, yeah, I say Fanatec stuff is pretty trustworthy. So use my link, buy some stuff, it'd be massively helpful. Gutted to see on the MFD there, Drugovich just struggling to keep... No! Oh, no! That has got to be the dumbest 3-second penalty I've picked up all season, but what I was going to say was gutted to see Drugovich just dropping back away from Pierre Gasly there. Really does seem locked into a battle with George Russell, wanting to join me on the podium at least once this weekend, but again, that's also based on the fact that if I can win this thing. But yeah, Gasly looks pretty locked up for P2. At least we've got a 5-second lead over him. When we got that 3-second penalty. Let's just not get another one and get this thing to the flag here at the end of Saturday. We're heading out of Zhongzhou then, ready to start the last lap of the Brazilian GP sprint race, and what a sprint it's been. Well, as you can tell, we are absolutely taking no prisoners this weekend. I'm just so worried we're going to get an engine failure at some point. I don't want to take any risks, and when we've got a chance to take big points away, we are absolutely going to try to here. We're doing our best Verstappen in real life 2023 impression, but this time around it's Verstappen the one that is losing any slim hopes there. It doesn't even look, unless him and Tsunoda swapped at the start, like he's going to score any points in this sprint race as well. So we've even got a little bit of breathing room as we head into the main Grand Prix as well. But rounding our way through this final lap. Come on, Felipe, hang on. Looks like is he going to hang on to the podium place at the moment? Yes, he is for now. Go on, Felipe, do it. Do it. But yeah, rounding our way though through the final couple of corners. Annoyed with that 3-second penalty. Like I said, such a stupid way to get the warning as well there. But that's the way Formula 1 goes sometimes. I'd be a lot more devastated if Gasly was 2 seconds behind rather than 8. But out of the final corner then, here on Sprint Race Saturday, Verstappen, surely, hopes are fading for the Dutchman. We are going to win the Brazilian GP Sprint, and we're going to start the main event also on pole.
So sore. Top job, mate. Top job. Yes. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but man, you pulled through. Thank you. Well done.
Let's see how the drivers' standings have changed. Mr. Monaco increases their championship lead. Well, that wraps up the sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Well, there we are then. That is the end of the sprint race here in Brazil, and Pierre Gasly will be joining me on the front row there. Drugovich just hanging on to that podium ahead of George Russell. Fittipaldi, a good recovery drive to 5th place from 9th there, with Charles Leclerc having an absolute disaster down in 6th. But Verstappen, no progress made on Saturday. That means heading into the main event Sunday, he has now got to overhaul me by 8 points. So if we finish 2nd behind him, that's it. Championship's wrapped up. We've even got a little bit of leeway. Let's do this thing. It's time for the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. Just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if, of course, the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, with Pierre Gasly alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Drugovich, Russell, Fittipaldi, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Albon, De Vries, Verstappen, Ocon, Oscar Piastri, Helga, Sainz, Liam Lawson, Magnussen, Teo Pourchaire, Bottas, Joe, Doohan, Stroll, and Logan Sargent. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. I'm joined again today by none other than Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, obviously there's a lot of development work that goes on with these cars between the Grand Prix. You've been both a test driver and a race driver. What differences are there in the way that you approach those roles?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. They're two very different mindsets. In the old days, of course, they used to cover up to 15,000 kilometres of testing in a season, and that role would be more about working for the team, trying to help them improve the car and drive as systematically as possible, so that the data could be analysed in the most consistent way. When lining up on the grid for a race, however, a race driver's frame of mind is all about what they can get out of the situation on that day, and the car is the tool to help them achieve those goals.
Well, many pundits could be talking about, you know, the huge championship battle going on. The fact that we could be about to win our first world championship. F123 sees it slightly differently. They'd rather talk to Anthony Davidson about testing from 15 years ago. Love this game. But as we head then into the main event today, I am very, very nervous. We're going to go aggressive on the strategy once again. We're going to do soft to medium there and try and take those soft tyres as far as we can early on. But yeah, let's try and walk away a champion today. Gasly alongside me. He started on mediums, so aggressive by him. But that should hopefully mean we get a good start. We'll wait and see though. There's no guarantees here at Interlagos. Right, let's do this thing though. Ready for the Brazilian Grand Prix. 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. And Gasly actually does get a pretty decent getaway there as we head down towards turn 1. Just going to try and slot in behind me to make our way into towards the first corner. And Charles Leclerc looks like he's going to instantly try to recover some of the places he lost out on yesterday. Drugovich down to 5th place off the start. As, yeah, really not helping myself there with a warning immediately. Pretty much the very first opportunity to get a warning, and I go and pick one up. But yeah, what is the pace going to be like early on come... Oh my, I've got no more warnings already, and we're 4 corners in. What am I doing at the start of the main event here? We need to focus up. We need to get my head down and not worry about that all too much here as we wind our way through the middle sector. We've seen Verstappen slowly start bottling it in recent races. Don't now make it 2 of us bottling it late on in the campaign, but as we round our way down the hill, just trying to gather things up as nicely as I possibly can there. Yeah, Gasly's going to be under a lot of pressure early on from the likes of Leclerc, Russell, and Felipe Drugovich. Of course, the other thing as well today is we could actually wrap up the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull needed to outscore us by 20 points here in this main event. So, yeah, they really do need a 1-2, and I hope we finish way down the order. But at the moment, both our cars are ahead of both of theirs. So as we end lap 1, still leading the Grand Prix. We've got no more warnings, though. And Gasly just 8/10ths back. Well, Gasly then, as DRS is about to be enabled, floating on the DRS line. And you can tell how much difference the fuel makes there. I remember we set fastest lap at the end of lap 2 in the sprint yesterday, 1:07.7. Basically matched the time I set in Q1. Here, a 1:08.9, and it felt like a tidy lap. We've got yellows. We've got a red flag already. What on earth has happened? One of the McLarens has gone. Won't be able to find out, of course, because the replay cameras are gone. But a red flag on just lap 3. And suddenly we've got a lot of work to do. What in terms of strategy are we looking at? We could go mediums and then back to softs later on. It's brave, it's bold. Will it be beautiful? Let's get into it though. Brazilian GP, back on the mediums. Gasly on the hards this time, 5 red lights. It's going to be lights out and away we go once again then. Much cleaner start that time around, but Charles Leclerc doing even better there as we're going to be again unpressured in towards the first corner, but that was absolutely the dream start. It's what we needed. I was very, very nervous that time, as Russell, despite starting on those hard tyres, is going to elevate himself up into P3. So Gasly having a bit of a nightmare. Here comes Charles Leclerc, though. So he has a look down the inside, down the end of the Interlagos, and we have to back out of it to make sure we don't get a penalty there. Charles Leclerc, I'm sure, is just going to try and romp away off this restart. And, of course, yeah, similar story, actually, to Qatar, wasn't it? We had a red flag there after dominating the sprint race. And obviously Leclerc took the lead. He's going to do the same here. I don't know if Mercedes is trying to go right the way through to the end of the afternoon, but Russell already, yeah, dropping back behind me to almost a second. Of course, we're going to have to wait a bit longer for the DRS to get enabled, but can we stay in the range of Charles? Charles Leclerc takes fast lap, and we're immediately going to go quicker there. 1:08.5 now. And, I mean, yeah, we're not in the lead of this race, but we are stalking Charles Leclerc early on, hunting down our prey. I think he knows as much as anyone else this weekend. I really am not seeing losing as an option. Drugovich safely up into P3 as well. They're building up a bit of a gap over those Mercedes, but are we going to be able to get a run on Charles Leclerc as we get to the red line to the outside? We know that Ferrari's got a lot of grit on those soft compound tyres. You can see Charles Leclerc kicks at the back end in frustration through the first couple of corners. Are we going to be able to get a run down the Interlagos? This time around, we're going to look to the inside. Charles Leclerc there, drag racing wheel to wheel. Of course, Ray came together with his teammate Sebastian Vettel all those years ago. And we will say thank you very much. Back up into the lead of the Brazilian GP. And boy, do I intend to stay there. Look at that, Charles Leclerc desperate to try and stay in the DRS range. I think he has, actually. As soon as I say that, the gap just dips under the 1 second mark as we cross over quarter distance in this main event here in Brazil. Charlie boy is not going to make my life easy. Of course, a one-time champion himself in this series. I'm sure he'd love to get, another one in the future. I am intrigued to see when the soft compound runners are going to peel into the pit lane this afternoon. I don't know whether they're going to go for a weirdly short length stint or actually try and extend the tyres out quite nicely. Like I said, I want to try and get these probably to the end of 22, 23 if possible. They didn't feel horrendous at the end of the sprint yesterday. But of course, you don't obviously want to take them too far either and risk it all. But yeah, it looks like...
I'm afraid you've been given a time penalty for that last incident, mate.
Deary me. A second time this weekend that the warning that gets me the penalty is the stupidest warning in the world. Let's hope that 3 seconds doesn't come back to haunt me. There we go. If I was worried about that 3-second penalty, the gap now is already there. So, fingers crossed we can keep that gap to Charles Leclerc by the end of the afternoon. But, yeah, that would be the end of the sprint race. Would have left us with a very dramatic finish if this thing was only 12 laps long. But it's not. It's 36, so we've still got 24 more to do. Well, it looks like the hard compound runners of Russell and Pierre Gasly now just starting to get into the groove again. Getting the jump on Felipe Drugovich there by the British Mercedes. But, Yeah, we are just... I don't know what's happened in the last few races, apart from Mexico, where obviously we got a little bit screwed over by Charles Leclerc almost immediately. Qatar, Kota, and here in Brazil, I don't want to jinx myself, but we have absolutely been in the groove. I don't know. Just seem to have found something with this car. I think it's in the setup, something like that, but it... As I'm saying it, well, I was about to say, you know, we've just felt so brutally consistent and everything like that. So we'll try and get back onto... Oh, hello. Try and get back... Yep, that's... Deary me. Oh, that's quite funny. That's quite... I'm going to shut up again. We need to get on with this. 6 seconds now worth of penalties for going for a pirouette, which you absolutely love to see. But yeah, we're almost at half distance here. I was gonna say I felt like we found a whole new level of confidence, but clearly not too confident still, it would appear. Oh, there we go. Charles Leclerc into the pit lane though, on the end of lap 17. So it is going to be a race then over the next couple of laps, seeing if that Ferrari will get the undercut on me and seeing how much work we've got to do in the second half. I would guess he's going mediums then to the end of the afternoon, but now Verstappen, you can see up to P5, of course. Even if, you know, say for example we did have a mechanical failure, if Verstappen still finishes 7th or lower, we would still win the championship, which is kind of mad. I would rather that wasn't what ends up happening, but like I said, I don't know why. I'm just adamant we're going to get an engine failure at some point. And I tell you what, well, hello. If I did now, it would look so scripted. More script than an hour of career mode. Team want me boxing then at the end of this lap, but I'm going to try and extend it just a couple of laps longer here, I think, if possible. I want to try and get to the end of 23 before we box. The gap to those hard runners is still going up. Charles Leclerc is definitely going to be ahead of me. We are going to have a chase on our hands late on in the day here in Sao Paulo. End of 23 then. Gap up to Russell to 7 seconds. But I mean, let's be fair. Mercedes could be trying to get to the end of the race on that set of tyres. As whoa, steady, easy does it. 43 on the way into the pit lane. As soon as I say that, I think... No, Russell does stay out for yet another one then. Looks like none of those front runners are diving in. Is that Leclerc though, right there already? Leclerc, yeah, Leclerc's a long way ahead of me at the moment. So we've got 12 laps to go of this race. Let's go. Dragovic is going to come out very much alongside me as well. So we're going to be a good 6 seconds or so behind Charlie Boy with 12 laps to go here. Of course, 6-second penalty as well. The gap's actually going to be more than 6 seconds as we head out of pit lane. We're actually going to be racing Kevin Magnussen on the pit lane exit. We're immediately going to tuck in for a tiny bit of slipstream, but we got the grip. Down the inside we'll go. Yeah, we've got 8 seconds up to Charles Leclerc, plus a 6-second penalty. 14.5 seconds in 12 laps. We are going to have to bring our A game here. But, as I've said before, failure is simply not an option today. Well, it hasn't taken me long, to reel in Felipe Drugovich there. It was going to take me a lot longer if I'd binned it again. But we're going close to 3 seconds a lap faster than those Red Bulls on their hard compound tyres at the moment. This should hopefully be enough to further cement that fastest lap bonus point that I wanted. Just to make sure if anything happens, then we've got that over. Max a 7-7. Just like we did in qualifying as well. Drugovich pushes me out wide there. A little bit ragged through the first couple of corners as we try and exit at the center S. And I'm sure my teammate's going to try and go for it again. Definitely cost us a lot of time as here comes Felipe. Not quite able to get close enough. Tsunoda just limping around at the moment. I really do wonder if they're trying to go to the end on those tyres, but I'm not convinced it's a wise choice at the moment. Guess Red Bull and Mercedes just kind of playing a game of chicken with each other as around the outside of Yuki will go. So we head up towards the start-finish line. Surely we're going to be able to outbrake him into turn 1. He's going to try and keep the nose there. He wants to help his teammate any way he can, but he's not going to. We are up to P5, and Verstappen is the next car in front of me. But the rare knots we close up on that Red Bull as we make our way in towards this middle sector. Verstappen, the one man that can stop me winning a Formula 1 World Championship this season. We have traded wins backwards and forwards. Oh, you can see the Dutchman, he might be completely with no cards left in his hand. But he's going to try and do anything he can to stop me there. You can see just moving around, trying to make that Red Bull as wide as possible. We'll give him a little bit of a bump, you know, NASCAR style. Why not, eh? And you can see the Dutchman trying to drain his battery. as we head out of the final corner. So we round our way, though, across the start-finish line. 9 laps to go here in Brazil. We are back ahead of our big rival. We're going to outbrake him as well at turn 1 there. And now we can see Pierre Gasly just in front of me, but that is, again, another hammer blow for Verstappen, who, to be honest, today needs to beat me, and beat me by a couple of places. Pierre Gasly up next, and we should be able to get down the inside here. Why? Got a little bit scared for a moment. We were going to do a Hamilton-Albon moment down through there. Of course, Gasly happy members, though, from that GP. Able to get on the podium. But, yeah, Russell versus Leclerc then out of the final corner, and we're waiting in the wings. Remember, we still have to build up a 6-second lead over Charlie Boy, even if we get ahead of him. But, yeah, I do think those Mercs are trying to go to the end, so it's a very, very aggressive strategy by Mercedes and Red Bull here. Charles Leclerc, though, that's going to be even more aggressive as George Russell will slam the door shut through turn 1. Are we going to be able to get a run at the first couple of turns there? We're going to get a big run on Charlie Boy as we head out the first couple of turns to the outside wall. Look, George Russell, though, is going to be slower than the pair of us. Whoa, Charles Leclerc there, just as he hit the brakes, actually, decided to cover me off. And can we try and get a run as we head back up the hill, down the inside? Oh, Charles Leclerc there wanted to cover me off, but knew we were not going to give up on it. Down the inside of Russell will go 2 places in 2 corners. We'll leave them to squabble between themselves to try and break out of the DRS range immediately. And that is textbook. 1 second, instantly the gap opens up to Charles Leclerc, who gets ahead of George Russell. 6 laps to go, 7 laps to go, really, of the Grand Prix. And we need another 4.5 seconds. Yellow's out. Someone's got issues. Don't be a safety car this late on in the afternoon. It looks to be the other Ferrari, Carlos Sainz, slowing down at the end of the Interlagos. And yep, Sainz out of the Grand Prix. No safety car, please. It looks like we got away with it. 3 seconds, the gap up to Charles. Well, 3 laps to go then here from Brazil, and the gap to Charles Leclerc is up over the safety buffer. I'm watching George Russell, Gasly even, Verstappen, and Felipe Drugovich, duking it out for that final podium place. I'm willing Felipe on. I want to see him get a podium and join us at the end of the GP. But what a crazy, crazy season this has been in the F123 My Team career. What a crazy series it's been. You know, I think obviously we took 2 videos off for real life Grand Prix. We also had one other day, I think, where a video, YouTube failed to process a video correctly, so I had to upload it again the day after. But you mix that in with 3 double uploads, I think, at the start of the campaign. I think genuinely we have averaged exactly 1 video a day of this series since F123 came out, which has got to be, what, 92, 94, 95 videos? So we've done some pre-season testing ones as well, haven't we? On top of that, 95 days, almost 100 days in a row, we have done an F123 My Team upload. It has been a stupid challenge, I won't lie. A couple of times, it's been an absolute nightmare, but I tell you what, I've really persevered. Of course, you know, this has been the first F1 game that I've gone in working full-time as a content creator, and literally earlier on this week, we celebrated 1 year as well of me going full-time. It's been a crazy roller coaster of a journey so far, and I cannot wait for what the future's going to hold as well. You know, you guys absolutely have made my dreams possible, and, you know, it's why I want to try and provide you better and more content as well from myself. But, yeah, as we round our way through the final few corners of the penultimate lap here in Brazil, I can confirm, of course, once we've done the last 2 races in Portimao and Vegas, I'm not going to be continuing on this save. We are going to be doing a full reset. You know, we want Daniel Ricciardo in. We also want the driver transfers to work properly after Abu Dhabi, and of course that's going to allow me to do a few other things with the calendar as well. They know Abu Dhabi can return, Singapore as well is going to make a return, of course, with the new layout, and a few other bits and pieces as well. But as we start the final lap here in Brazil, it has been a season that's thrown absolutely everything it possibly could at us. We went through the first 7 races adamant we couldn't win there. We finally struck gold at Imola and returned to the top step of the podium. Looks like a McLaren has gone round trying to steal my limelight right at the very end of this GP. But we finally broke our duct at Imola, and even then we still had some bad luck over the next few races as well after we watched Verstappen win 4 in a row early on this campaign. I really did think the Dutchman was on for yet another championship. We lost Lando Norris halfway through the season, couldn't pay him enough money, so he decided to take a sabbatical, and, you know, could he have still been in this championship fight late on in the game? Really did show his true colours in that moment. But for us, you know, especially since Suzuka, we have absolutely seen a turnaround in form. As soon as we took that championship lead, we never intended on relinquishing it, and Verstappen has absolutely fallen off. Round in the final corner here in Brazil. We're not going to leave anything to chance today. We said coming into this one, I wanted to walk away as a world champion. We join a huge list of drivers that have won a championship here at Brazil. We've only gone and done it.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It might have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level at the very top is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Not just victory today then, but the championship as well. What a spectacular season they've had. Congratulations to the whole team. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. And this also means there's no catching our leader anymore. And we crown a new World Drivers' Champion. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco.
Let's move on to the Constructors. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Well, I cannot believe we have finally done it here. Pole position, fastest lap, race victory, not only in the main event, but also in the sprint race there. We have been absolutely unstoppable this weekend, and that's the way you want to win a world championship, isn't it? With no one else even getting a look in there. Charles Leclerc will come through for P2 in the end. Russell will finish P3 ahead of Max Verstappen. Pierre Gasly, gutted. The Drogovic couldn't walk away with a podium in the end, but he does beat out Tsunoda, Piastri, Albon, and Esteban Ocon come the end of the race there. Championship-wise, 74 points, 2 races, 52 points available. It's done. We are going to be Formula One World Champion there. You absolutely love to see it. It does mean Constructors-wise as well. We've wrapped that up. It is all done here in Brazil. It means we can head into the final 2 races. We're going to do a couple of last to first challenges to have a bit of fun at the end of this series. But yeah, what a dominant, you know, especially, you know, when you look at it, we're 200 points ahead of Charles Leclerc, who's P4 in the championship. Still a lot of battles going on further down the order. Sainz, Drogovic, Ocon in a big duke out for P9 overall. Russell could still get the jump on Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc if he had a good result there, and Gasly and Oscar Piastri also locked into quite a tight little battle as well. Constructors-wise, Mercedes 12 ahead of Ferrari, Aston Martin still 2 ahead of Alpine, so it is all to play for between those teams as we head into our final couple of races as well. But yeah, thank you to everyone for the ridiculous amount of support on this series. You know, it's been an absolute roller coaster of a ride so far, but we've got 2 races to let our hair down. We will be back tomorrow in Portimao. You guys do not want to miss it. A massive thank you to all of my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters for their continued donations to help my work. These things go much further than I think a lot of you ever realise and allow me to continue making content full-time here on YouTube. So if you want to support me from as little as £1 a month and be featured on all of these end clips, either click the join button next to the subscribe or head over to my Patreon. There's a link down in the description.